Through eyes clouded with unshed tears that threaten to spill at any moment, Anna Thompson signs the divorce papers her husband thrusts across the polished oak table at his family's lavish Thanksgiving gathering. Her fingers tremble against her swollen belly, heavy with 8 months of pregnancy, as the entire Johnson clan bursts into raucous laughter around her. Her mother-in-law, Margaret Johnson, lifts a glass of fine red wine in a sardonic toast while Anna's husband, Michael, stands arm-in-arm with his pregnant girlfriend. Both of them grinning like they've just won the lottery at the expense of the woman they're systematically dismantling. But none of them notice the faint glow of Anna's phone screen on the table beside the papers. None of them recognize the name flashing insistently, Dad. None of them have a clue that the broken woman scribbling her signature through her pain is actually Anna Harrington, the sole daughter of William Harrington, the tech mogul whose empire dominates Silicon Valley and employs tens of thousands across the country. Anna's hand shakes violently as she flips through page after page of legalese, each one a nail in the coffin of her 4-year marriage. Her tears splash onto the documents, smudging the ink slightly, but no one cares. The Johnson family revels in the moment, their holiday cheer echoing through the spacious living room of their upscale suburban home in upstate New York, a home whose mortgage payments, unbeknownst to them, have been quietly covered by Anna's anonymous contributions. She stands there, unsupported, her back aching from the weight of her pregnancy, while the family lounges on plush sofas, sipping drinks and exchanging smug glances. No one offers her a seat, they prefer to watch her squirm, her discomfort adding to their twisted entertainment. Finally, Margaret Johnson addresses the room, her voice laced with venom as Anna signs the last page. At last, my son is rid of that leech who snared him with her tricks. No more pretending to be something she's not. But the woman they dismiss as a nobody is the heiress to a fortune that could swallow their modest family business 1,000,000 times over. The woman they label a opportunist secretly owns the very land their family estate is built on, purchased through a discreet trust to help Michael without bruising his ego. And the tears tracing paths down Anna's cheeks aren't born of defeat, they're the quiet ignition of a fire that's about to consume everything in its path. Michael leans in close, his breath hot against her ear, carrying the scent of the expensive cologne she bought him last Christmas. "You're done here," he sneers, his tone devoid of any remnant of the love they once shared. "Sarah and I have to plan for our future, maybe pick out some baby names." Sarah, his former secretary turned lover, chuckles from the corner, her hand cradling her own 6-month bump, a child conceived in betrayal while Anna was still faithfully married. The room explodes in fresh mirth, Michael's sister clinking glasses with his cousin. "To better choices," she proclaims, and the Johnsons toast to Anna's obsolescence as if she's already faded into irrelevance. Anna's grip tightens on the pen until her nails dig into her palm, drawing tiny crescents of blood. She remembers the night she met Michael 5 years ago at a community fundraiser in Brooklyn, where she'd volunteered under her mother's maiden name, Thompson, eager to escape the gilded cage of high society events and suitors who only saw dollar signs in her eyes. Michael had seemed genuine back then, passionately discussing his aspirations to launch a sustainable energy startup, sketching innovative solar panel designs on cocktail napkins as they talked late into the night. He'd complimented her laugh, her ideas, without probing into her background or finances. She'd fallen hard for his ambition, his easy charm, convinced he saw her, the real her, not the Harrington heiress. But reality had eroded that illusion bit by bit. Their marriage hit rough waters just 8 months in when Michael's startup hit financial snags. Anna had offered help discreetly, funneling funds through anonymous investors, but Michael's pride turned toxic. He began questioning her secretive family, why she avoided grand weddings or introductions to her relatives. She dodged, clinging to the dream of a love untainted by wealth. Meanwhile, Margaret sowed doubt, whispering about Anna's shady past and hidden motives. The Johnsons branded her an interloper, a social climber invading their middle-class comfort, and made her life a daily gauntlet of subtle digs and outright scorn. Anna straightens as best she can, her spine protesting the strain. She stacks the signed papers neatly, slips off her simple gold wedding band, bought on a whim at a flea market to keep up the modest facade, and places it atop the stack like a final punctuation mark. "I wish you all the happiness you deserve," she murmurs, her voice fracturing just enough to elicit a fleeting shadow across Michael's face, perhaps regret, perhaps just the dawning realization of his cruelty. But Sarah calls out flirtatiously, and the moment shatters. Margaret blocks Anna's path to the exit, her eyes gleaming with malicious glee. "One more thing before you slink away," she says, her words sharp as knives. "We've spread the word far and wide about your scheming ways. Good luck finding anyone else to fool with your sob story and that bastard child." The insults land like punches, the gathered family nodding in approval, their faces contorted in self-righteous satisfaction. Anna meets Margaret's gaze, and something within her crystallizes, pain forging into resolve. "Thank you," Anna replies softly, the words baffling Margaret into retreat. "For revealing your true colors so clearly. All of you." Her eyes scan the room, committing each sneer, each triumphant grin to memory. Michael's sister, who mocked Anna's thrift store outfits, his cousin, who questioned her lowly job as a librarian, his father, who bluntly accused her of targeting their inheritance of a small family hardware chain worth barely 6 figures. Anna's phone vibrates again, Dad, for the 20th time that evening. She'd ignored his calls for years, too stubborn to admit he'd been right about Michael. William Harrington had vetted Michael the instant Anna introduced him, delivering his verdict with the no-nonsense precision of a man who'd built a tech conglomerate from a garage startup. "He's after the lifestyle he thinks you'll provide," he'd warned. "Once he sees you're keeping it separate, he'll bail." Anna had accused him of meddling and gone no contact, betting on love over legacy. What a costly mistake. Anna pushes through the heavy front door into the biting November wind, the chill seeping through her thin coat as fallen leaves crunch underfoot. She makes her way to her beat-up Honda Civic, a deliberate choice to maintain her cover, her hands fumbling with the keys until they slip into a pile of damp leaves. Bending to retrieve them throws her off balance, her belly protesting, and she steadies herself against the car, breath coming in ragged gasps as tears freeze on her lashes. The baby kicks fiercely, a reminder of life amid ruin, and Anna presses her palm to the movement. "I'm so sorry, little one," she whispers. "Sorry for all of this mess." She recalls Michael's paternity demands 3 months back, the humiliating test amid family jeers. Thinks of Sarah claiming the home Anna secretly financed, redecorating rooms Anna had lovingly arranged. The betrayal scorches her soul, leaving her gasping. With trembling fingers, she dials her father. He picks up instantly. "Anna?" His voice, usually commanding boardrooms, cracks with worry. "Dad," she chokes out, and the floodgates open, years of isolation, hurt, and deception pouring forth in sobs that echo in the Johnson driveway. She cries for the idealistic girl who'd craved normalcy, for the wife who'd believed in forever, for the mother now facing single parenthood. "Tell me your location," William commands, his tone shifting to action mode, the voice that closes deals and topples competitors. "I'm sending a team. We'll sort this out, Anna. No matter what." "I'm at the Johnsons' place," she manages. "I just signed everything." They celebrated, Dad. Laughed while I stood there pregnant and signed." A lethal silence follows, then, "Stay put. I'm en route, 5 minutes out." "And Anna, they've poked the wrong bear." The line cuts, and Anna waits in the gathering dusk, hand on her belly, watching the warm glow from the house where her tormentors party on, oblivious to the storm brewing. Black limousines glide up the driveway like shadows, their engines purring with understated power. Anna observes from beside her car as 4 vehicles align perfectly, doors opening to reveal William Harrington in a tailored suit, flanked by a security detail that exudes quiet menace. He strides to her, his tech tycoon presence commanding even in the suburban setting, gray eyes assessing her with paternal fury. "Let me look at you," he says gently, cupping her chin. His features harden at the sight of her distress, the puffy eyes, the defeated posture, the protective curve of her arm over her child. "I should have intervened sooner. Respected your independence too much." Anna shakes her head. You warned me. I was blind, Dad. Thought love could be simple, without all the everything. He hugs her carefully. Blind? No, optimistic. Brave. But bravery doesn't mean enduring this alone. His gaze turns steel as he spots movement at the house, curtains twitching, faces peering out in confusion. Michael emerges, bravado faltering at the sight of the entourage. Anna? What's this? Who are these people? William ignores him, signaling to his lead attorney, Elena Vargas, a formidable woman in her 40s clutching a tablet and briefcase. Elena, proceed. Elena nods, pulling up digital files with efficiency. Margaret Johnson, this property at 456 Oak Lane is held by Harrington Ventures subsidiary, Pine Ridge Holdings, acquired 2 years ago to assist with financial strains. The lease is now void under Clause 12, mistreatment of beneficiaries. Margaret storms out, heels clicking indignantly. This is outrageous. We own this house free and clear. Elena's smile is professional ice. Records show otherwise. Eviction notice served. Michael's face drains of color. Anna doesn't come from money. She's ordinary. William's laugh is mirthless. My daughter chose ordinary to test you. Anna Harrington, heir to Harrington Tech, Harrington Investments, $50 billion empire, 250,000 employees worldwide. The revelation hits like a thunderclap. Michael's family gapes, calculations crumbling. Sarah appears, hand on her belly, triumph fading to terror. Elena continues relentlessly. Michael Johnson, your startup funded by Harrington Seed Capital, withdrawn. Bankruptcy imminent. Margaret, your country club board seat? Sponsored by Harrington Philanthropy, revoked. Robert Johnson, your consulting gigs? Tied to Harrington contracts, terminated. The Johnsons reel, protests dying as reality sinks in. Margaret clutches her chest. You can't ruin us over a divorce. William's voice is arctic. Not the divorce. The humiliation of my pregnant daughter. The mockery. The cruelty to your own grandchild's mother. Grandchild? Michael stammers, eyes widening in horror. The baby, mine. Harrington heir? Anna speaks then, calm amid the chaos. She'll be a Harrington. Raised with love, not betrayal. You'll have nothing to do with her. The words crush him. Sarah pleads, but Michael stares blankly, lost. William guides Anna to a limo. Home now. Your suite's ready, doctor's on call. Before leaving, Anna addresses Michael. I loved you truly, gave up my world for yours. But you never loved me, just the potential. When I seemed a burden, you discarded me. Anna, wait, I messed up. For the baby. The baby needs better, she replies, entering the vehicle. As they drive away, Anna leans on her father, relief washing over her. What now for them? They lose the illusions they cherished more than you. House, jobs, status, all gone. Anna nods, closing her eyes, the weight lifting as they head to the Harrington mansion in the Hudson Valley, a world of security and second chances. The Harrington estate in the Hudson Valley welcomed Anna back like a long-lost daughter returning from war. As the convoy of black limousines swept through the wrought iron gates that November night, the sprawling mansion glowed warmly against the dark, its windows lit like beacons guiding her home. The air smelled of pine and wood smoke from the massive stone fireplaces that had warmed her childhood winters. For the first time in years, Anna felt the knot in her chest loosen, just a fraction, but enough to breathe. William helped her from the vehicle, his arms steady around her shoulders as they climbed the wide marble steps. The staff, many of whom had known Anna since she was a toddler, waited discreetly in the grand foyer, eyes filled with quiet concern and relief. No fanfare, no questions. Just the head housekeeper, Mrs. Ellis, stepping forward with a soft blanket and a murmured, "Welcome home, Miss Anna." Her old suite on the second floor had been prepared exactly as William promised. Fresh flowers on the dresser, her favorite books on the nightstand, the wide bay windows overlooking the river now dressed in heavy winter curtains. A private obstetrician, Dr. Sophia Chen, one of the best in New York, was already waiting in the adjoining sitting room, medical bag open, ultrasound machine humming softly. The examination was thorough but gentle. "Baby is strong," Dr. Chen said, turning the screen so Anna could see the tiny heartbeat fluttering like a trapped bird. "You're both dehydrated and exhausted, but no immediate concerns. Bed rest, hydration, and zero stress for the next few weeks." Anna laughed, a broken sound that turned into a sob. Zero stress might be asking too much. William stood in the doorway the entire time, arms crossed, watching like a sentinel. When Dr. Chen left with instructions for round-the-clock monitoring, he finally entered and sat on the edge of the bed. "Sleep now, sweetheart," he said, brushing damp hair from her forehead just as he had when she was small and feverish. "Tomorrow we start putting the pieces back together." Anna slept for 14 hours straight, the deepest, dreamless sleep she'd had in years. The days that followed blurred into a rhythm of healing. Mornings began with breakfast in bed, fresh fruit, steel-cut oats, prenatal smoothies prepared by the estate's chef. William joined her most days, reading the financial news aloud or sharing quiet stories from Harrington Tech's latest projects, never pushing, just filling the silence with his steady presence. Afternoons were for therapy. William had flown in Dr. Elena Marquez, a trauma specialist who worked with high-profile clients and understood the unique pressures of wealth and betrayal. They met in the sunlit library overlooking the gardens, where bare trees stood sentinel against the gray November sky. "I feel like a failure," Anna admitted in their first session, curled in an armchair with a blanket over her lap. "I chose him. I cut you off. I lied to everyone. And for what? To prove I could have a normal life?" Dr. Marquez's voice was calm, non-judgmental. "You didn't fail, Anna. You tested a hypothesis: can love exist without money complicating it? The experiment gave you an answer. Painful, yes. But now you have data. And data lets us make better choices next time." Slowly, the layers peeled back. Anna talked about the small wedding on a Cape Cod beach, barefoot, just 10 guests, Michael grinning as he promised forever. About the joy of discovering her pregnancy, how Michael had kissed her belly and whispered dreams of teaching their child to surf. About the first cracks, his growing resentment when she refused to use her connections, the late nights that turned into affairs, the way Margaret's whispers became shouts. She cried for the girl who had wanted so desperately to be seen for herself that she'd hidden her entire world. By December, the physical healing was well underway. Her blood pressure stabilized, the baby grew strong, and Anna began short walks in the snow-dusted gardens, bundled in cashmere coats and supported by William or a nurse. The estate's holiday decorations went up quietly, no lavish party this year, just tasteful lights and a massive Fraser fir in the great hall that smelled like childhood Christmases. One evening, as snow fell thick and silent outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, William brought a thick folder to the fireside. "Updates," he said simply, handing it over. "Only if you want them." Anna took it with steady hands now. Inside were reports from Elena Vargas and a private investigation firm. The Johnsons were unraveling faster than even William had anticipated. The house on Oak Lane had gone into foreclosure within weeks. Hidden debts surfaced, second mortgages, credit lines maxed for luxury renovations, Margaret's gambling habit at the country club casino. The auction fetched barely enough to cover the loans. They moved into a cramped two-bedroom rental in a nondescript apartment complex outside Albany. Michael's startup collapsed spectacularly. Investors pulled out the moment Harrington Ventures withdrew funding. Creditors circled. By Christmas Eve, the company was in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Michael took a job as a sales associate at a big-box electronics store, minimum wage plus commission, long hours on his feet, selling TVs to families who had no idea he once dreamed of revolutionizing solar energy. Sarah, 6 months pregnant and facing reality, moved back with her parents in New Jersey. She kept the engagement ring Michael had given her, bought with credit, but sold most of her designer wardrobe online to cover medical bills. Margaret's social circle evaporated overnight. The country club revoked her membership when the Harrington Philanthropy Endowment disappeared. Invitations stopped coming. Old friends crossed the street to avoid her at the grocery store. Robert Johnson's consulting contracts, mostly golf course connections greased by Harrington referrals, dried up. He spent days in his recliner, muttering about lawsuits that never materialized. The family's health insurance lapsed. Margaret skipped her diabetes medications to save money. Anna read it all without triumph. Just a quiet, heavy sadness. "They're suffering," she said, closing the folder. "They chose this path the moment they chose cruelty over compassion," William replied. "Consequences aren't revenge, Anna. They're physics. Actions have reactions." Still, that night Anna stood at her window watching snow blanket the world in white and whispered a prayer, not for their destruction, but for their awakening. Christmas came gently. No grand gala. Just Anna, William, and the loyal staff who had become family. They decorated cookies in the massive kitchen, sang carols off-key around the piano, and opened simple gifts by the tree. William gave Anna a delicate necklace, a small silver lily pendant, symbolizing the daughter she would soon meet. "I had it made the day you left for college," he confessed. "Always meant to give it to you when you became a mother. Timing feels right now." Anna wore it every day after. January brought brutal cold and the first real legal battles. The Johnsons, desperate, filed a frivolous lawsuit claiming tortious interference and emotional distress. Elena Vargas dismantled it in pre-trial motions. The judge, a federal appointee who owed his seat partly to Harrington donations, dismissed it with prejudice and sanctioned their attorney for wasting court time. Michael tried calling the estate multiple times. Security blocked every attempt. He sent letters, first angry, then pleading. They were forwarded unread to Elena, who archived them as evidence of harassment. By February, Anna's belly was round and prominent, her movements slower. She spent hours in the nursery William had prepared, soft gray walls with white wainscoting, a hand-carved crib from Italy, bookshelves already filled with classics. She read aloud to her daughter every night, Jane Austen, Maya Angelou, children's stories about brave girls who saved themselves. One stormy afternoon, Elena visited with final divorce papers. New York's no-fault laws made it swift once signed. Anna inked her name without hesitation this time. "It's truly over," she said, handing the documents back. Elena smiled. "And something new is beginning." Spring arrived early that year. Crocuses pushed through melting snow. Anna's due date approached. She launched the first initiative of what would become the Harrington Family Foundation, a grant program for single mothers pursuing education. The announcement made national news. Tech Heiress turns personal heartbreak into hope for thousands. Reporters camped at the gates, but security kept them at bay. Anna gave one interview, via video from the estate library. "I hid my privilege because I wanted to be loved for who I am," she told the journalist. "I learned the hard way that real love doesn't require hiding. And real strength doesn't require revenge. It requires rising." The clip went viral. Messages poured in from women around the country. "Thank you, me too, you give me hope." On a warm April morning, labor began. William paced the private birthing suite like an expectant father all over again. Dr. Chin coached calmly. After 8 hours of hard work, Lily Harrington entered the world at 3:17 a.m., 7 pounds, 2 ounces, with a shock of dark hair and lungs that announced her arrival decisively. Anna held her first, tears streaming as she counted 10 perfect fingers, 10 perfect toes. "Hello, Lily," she whispered. "Welcome to your beautiful life." William entered moments later, eyes suspiciously bright. When the nurse placed Lily in his arms, The billionaire who had stared down hostile takeovers and Senate committees wept openly. "She's perfect," he choked. "Just like her mother." In the weeks that followed, the estate filled with the sounds of new life, midnight feedings, soft lullabies, the sweet scent of baby lotion. Anna healed physically and emotionally in ways she hadn't thought possible. One June evening, as fireflies danced over the lawns, William brought another folder, this one thinner. "Final updates," he said. "I think this closes the chapter." Michael had moved into a studio apartment above a laundromat. He worked double shifts, sending what little he could to Sarah for their son. He'd enrolled in community college night classes, business ethics, of all things. Sarah gave birth to a healthy boy. She named him Ethan, not after Michael's family tradition. Margaret's health declined sharply. She spent weeks in the hospital with uncontrolled blood sugar. The family hardware chain, Robert's Pride, was sold for parts. Anna closed the folder and looked out at the sunset painting the river gold. "They're living the consequences," she said quietly. "And we're living the opposite." William nodded. "You turned pain into purpose. That's the best revenge there is." Anna smiled, touching the lily pendant at her throat. "No, Dad. It's not revenge. It's redemption." That summer, Anna took Lily on her first walk through the gardens. Barefoot in soft grass, mother and daughter under a limitless blue sky. The woman who had once stood trembling in a hostile living room now stood tall in her truth. The betrayal hadn't broken her. It had freed her. And in the years to come, the world would learn her name, not for the scandal that tried to define her, but for the empire of good she built in its wake. But that's a story for another chapter. For now, in the quiet Hudson Valley evenings, Anna rocked her daughter to sleep and whispered promises. "You will never have to hide who you are. You will never have to choose between love and power. You will grow up knowing your worth was never up for debate." And outside, the river flowed on, steady, strong, carrying away the past and making room for everything yet to come.